You know, we got to understand what Paul wrote when he said, "Whatsoever is not of faith is sin." And, living by faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. For the righteousness of God is revealed in the gospel of Jesus Christ from faith unto faith. But faith is so many things, as Paul wrote in his letter to the called out ones at Ephesus, that the shield of faith quenches all the fiery darts of the evil one. When the disciples were crossing the Sea of Galilee before Jesus, and Jesus came to them at night, and they were having problems rowing across because the waves were so contrary to them. And they see in Jesus, supposing him to be a spirit, they cried out. And Jesus said, "Fear not, it is I." And Peter said, "If it be you, Lord, bid me to come out on the water with you." And he said, "Come." And Peter came down out of the boat and was walking on the water, but then he saw the violence of the waves, and he began to sink, and he cried out to Jesus. And Jesus reached out and pulled him up. And Jesus said, "Why did you doubt?" It was the fear that caused him to lose faith. And this is the same thing God has showed me back maybe a year and a half after I had been born again. In a dream, this angel was carrying me in the air to this place where there was weed as far as the eye could see. And as we came upon this little white house, and there was a man in white standing beside it. And as we came down, I landed on the ground and I found myself underneath this piece of farming equipment. And it was under this deck where the tines were, and I heard the motor start up on the tractor, and the tines started turning and coming down, and I reached up to fight them as fear filled me. And then I heard the voice of the man saying, "Whatsoever is not of faith is sin." And as I began to fight the fear disappeared, and the tractor was lifted up off of me. We've got to understand, and this is what the writer of Hebrews in chapter 2, talking about those who are all their lifetime subject to bondage through fear of death. We need to understand we can overcome those things through faith in God.